This video is not investment advice. It is purely educational content. Most people wake up, check their bank balance, and feel a sense of security. They think their money is safe. They think the system is designed to help them build wealth. But here's the uncomfortable truth that banks and governments don't want you to understand. Every single day you have money sitting in a savings account, earning 0.5% interest, while inflation runs at 3 to 4%. You are literally working for free. Not just for an hour or a day. Over a 25-year career, the hidden mechanisms of modern banking strip away approximately 10 years of your productive life. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is mathematics. This is how the system actually works. And the worst part? The banks know this. The central banks know this. The governments know this. They've engineered it this way on purpose. Because when you're focused on the illusion of saving, you're not focused on building real wealth. You're not questioning the system. You're not demanding better. You're just compliant. You're a perfect customer. You follow the rules, deposit your paycheck, and slowly watch your purchasing power evaporate while the people at the top transfer trillions of dollars to themselves through quantitative easing, corporate bailouts, and monetary expansion. Let me show you exactly how this works with real numbers. Imagine you earn $50,000 per year. You're responsible, so you save 20% of your income. That's $10,000 per year going into your high-yield savings account. Your bank promises you a generous 4.5% annual return. Sounds amazing, right? Over 30 years, you deposit $300,000 into this high-yield account. At 4.5% compound interest, your balance grows to approximately $573,000. But here's the critical part everyone misses. If inflation averaged just 3% per year over those 30 years, the real purchasing power of your $573,000 is equivalent to only $239,000 in today's dollars. You accumulated more dollars, but you accumulated fewer actual goods, fewer actual services, fewer actual resources. The dollars became worth less. This is the mechanism. This is the trap. Think about it. You worked an extra 10 years to earn that $300,000, and inflation erased 58% of its real value. You sacrificed a decade of your life, time with family, time pursuing passions, time building actual businesses to accumulate money that the system systematically devalued. And who benefited? The banks, which took your deposits and lent them out at 8 to 10% while paying you 4.5%. The government, which printed money and diluted your savings. The mega corporations whose stock prices inflated because there was more money chasing the same assets. Everyone profited, except you. Now, let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus is a 35-year-old accountant. He makes $65,000 per year. He's been saving religiously since he was 25. Every paycheck, $800 goes into his savings account. The bank advertised this account as the secure path to financial independence. Marcus did exactly what society told him to do. He was responsible. He didn't spend on luxuries. He bought used cars. He cooked at home. Over 10 years, Marcus deposited $96,000 into this savings account. His account grew to $118,000 thanks to compound interest. Marcus felt proud. He thought he was winning the game. But when he actually sat down and calculated the real purchasing power of that $118,000 adjusted for inflation over those 10 years, he realized it was only equivalent to about $91,000 in today's money. He hadn't built $118,000, he'd built $91,000, and he'd given 10 years of his finite life for it. That's when Marcus realized the system wasn't designed for him to win. It was designed for him to feel like he was winning while actually losing. And here's what really gets me. Marcus's bank sent him a congratulatory letter. Congratulations on reaching $118,000. You're building wealth. No, he's not. He's being robbed in slow motion while being told it's for his own good. The bank is celebrating his compliance, his discipline, his willingness to sacrifice. Because compliant, disciplined people don't question the system. They don't demand inflation-adjusted returns. They don't realize their savings account is a losing game. They just keep depositing. But this is only the first layer of the extraction. The second mechanism is debt. See, while the banks are offering you 4.5% on your savings, they're charging 6.5 to 8% on car loans, 8% to 12% on personal loans, and 20 to 25% on credit cards. The mathematics of debt always favors the lender, not the borrower. Let's say you buy a car for $30,000 financed at 7% over 60 months. Your monthly payment is $580. Over 5 years, you pay $34,800 total. You paid $4,800 in interest for the privilege of using the bank's money. That's 16% more than the car's actual value. Now, if you'd paid cash, if you'd used your savings, you wouldn't have paid that interest. But the system is designed to make you choose debt. Credit is abundant. Cash is hard to accumulate because inflation eats it. So you borrow. And every dollar you borrow at 7% has to earn more than 7% just to break even. Most people's savings earn 4.5%. They can't beat the borrowing cost, so they stay on the treadmill. They borrow, they pay interest, they save at a loss, they borrow again. The banks know this perfectly. They don't care if you default on loans, they've already priced that into their rates and backed by government-guaranteed insurance. They win either way. If you pay, they collect interest. If you default, they collect insurance. The only loser is you. And the system keeps you poor by making debt cheap and savings worthless. It's brilliant. It's evil. It's perfectly legal. The third mechanism of extraction is fees. This one is so insidious most people don't even see it. Banks charge overdraft fees, monthly maintenance fees, ATM fees, wire transfer fees, minimum balance fees, inactivity fees, paper statement fees. Over a lifetime, these fees add up. Let's calculate. If you pay an average of just $15 per month in various banking fees, and that's conservative, over 40 years of banking, you pay $7,200 directly to banks just for the privilege of using their service. $7,200 that could have been invested, could have compounded, could have actually grown. Instead, it evaporated into bank profits. And that's not counting the credit card fees, the investment account fees, the wealth management fees. For the average middle-class person, fees across all financial products probably total $15,000 to $25,000 over a lifetime. That's a car. That's a year of college. That's a down payment on a house. Gone. Extracted. All while the banks advertise free checking. Free checking, the most dishonest phrase in modern finance. There's no such thing as free. If you're not paying with money, you're paying with your data, your attention, your opportunity cost. The banks are mining your financial information, selling it to marketers, using it to predict your behavior, and profiting from your ignorance. And you call it free. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I need a bank account. I need somewhere safe to keep my money. I'm not saying don't use a bank. I'm saying understand the cost, understand the mechanisms. Some banks are better than others. Credit unions offer better rates. Online banks have lower fees. You have choices. But most people never compare. They just keep the account their parents opened for them in high school, paying fees and earning nothing because it's comfortable and familiar. That's the trap. And before you say, well, I need to save for emergencies, yes, you do, but you don't need to save in an asset that's guaranteed to lose purchasing power. That's like saying, I need to protect my wealth, and then burying it in the ground where it rots. There are options: inflation-protected securities, real assets, diversified investments. But those require knowledge. They require thinking. And the system benefits when you don't think. The system benefits when you just accept the status quo. The fourth mechanism is more subtle but perhaps the most damaging: opportunity cost. Every dollar sitting in a savings account earning 4.5% while inflation is 3% is a dollar not earning 8% in the stock market, not earning 10% in small business growth, not earning 12% through real estate appreciation. The difference compounds. Let's run the numbers. $10,000 invested in the stock market averaged 10% annually over the last 50 years. After 30 years, that $10,000 becomes $174,494. The same $10,000 in a savings account at 4.5% with 3% inflation, becomes only $38,000 in real purchasing power. The difference? $136,494. That's the cost of choosing safety over growth. That's 10 years of your life compressed into a single financial decision repeated year after year. Think about that. By being responsible and safe, you literally sacrificed 10 years of accumulated wealth. You worked 10 extra years so you could sleep soundly knowing your money was secure in a bank account. But it wasn't secure. It was eroding. You weren't being safe, you were being slow-boiled. And by the time you realized the temperature was too high, you'd already surrendered decades. Let me tell you about Jennifer. Jennifer is 42 years old. She's a teacher earning $58,000 per year. For the last 20 years, she's saved 15% of her income. That's about $8,700 per year or $174,000 total over 20 years. Her bank account grew to approximately $215,000 thanks to compound interest at 4.5% annual returns. Jennifer is proud. She's disciplined. She's done everything right. But here's the reality. If she'd invested that same $174,000 in a diversified index fund returning 10% annually, she'd have $452,000 today. The difference is $237,000. Jennifer gave up $237,000 of real wealth by choosing safety over growth. She sacrificed more than 4 years of her salary for the illusion of security, and she didn't even realize she was making a choice. The system just guided her there. Savings accounts are safe, the bank said. That's where responsible people put their money, society said. So Jennifer obeyed, and she lost. And you know what the banks did with Jennifer's money? They took her deposits, paid her 4.5%, and lent it out to other people at 7% or higher. They used her capital to generate returns she never saw. They extracted the spread, the difference between what they paid her and what they charged others. That spread, multiplied across millions of customers like Jennifer, generates billions in profit for the banking system. Jennifer enabled her own wealth extraction. She walked to the counter and handed them the tools to rob her, willingly, cheerfully, because she trusted them. Some of you are thinking, but the stock market is risky. I could lose everything. Yes, there's risk in the stock market. Individual stocks can go to zero. Market crashes happen. But here's what most people don't understand. The risk of doing nothing is often greater than the risk of doing something. If you're in a country with inflation and you do nothing, you're guaranteed to lose purchasing power. It's not a possibility. It's a mathematical certainty. The stock market over 20-year or 30-year periods has never failed to recover and produce positive returns after accounting for inflation. Individual years can be negative, but over decades, the math is clear. The real risk is staying in cash. So the question isn't, is the stock market risky? The real question is, what's the bigger risk? The guaranteed slow destruction of your purchasing power through inflation, or the temporary fluctuations of the market that historically reward patient investors? When you frame it that way, the choice becomes obvious. But the banks don't want you to think about it that way. The banks want you scared of the market so you keep your money safe with them. Fear is a tool of extraction. The fifth mechanism is psychological manipulation. Banks and financial institutions spend billions on marketing designed to make you feel secure, responsible, and emotionally attached to their brand. They create slogans like, "Your trusted partner for life," or "Banking made simple." They sponsor your local sports teams. They give to charities. They build a halo effect where you associate the bank with goodness and trust. But underneath that marketing is a simple economic reality. The bank profits when you're compliant and uninformed. The bank's incentives are not aligned with your wealth. The bank's incentive is to extract fees, to capture your capital at low interest rates, and to keep you believing in a system that benefits them. Every commercial you see, every friendly teller, every rewards credit card is part of a sophisticated system designed to keep you loyal to an institution that's slowly taking your wealth. You think the bank is your partner? The bank is a predator in a business suit. It smiles at you while taking your money. It calls you valued customer while calculating how to extract more from you. This is not personal, it's business. The bank's business is making money from you, not for you, from you. The moment you understand that, the mask comes off. Now, meet David. David is 55 years old. He's worked in construction for 30 years and earned an average of $55,000 per year. Throughout his career, he saved $500 per month, $6,000 per year. Over 30 years, that's $180,000 in contributions. His savings account, earning 4.5% with compound interest, grew to approximately $305,000. David feels secure. Retirement is 10 years away. He thinks his savings will provide a comfortable nest egg. But here's what David doesn't realize. His $305,000 in today's dollars, adjusted for 30 years of 3% average inflation, is only worth $127,000 in the purchasing power he had when he started saving. He accumulated $305,000 in nominal dollars, but he only accumulated $127,000 in real wealth. And here's the kicker. If David had invested his $180,000 in a diversified portfolio returning 8% annually, his account would be worth approximately $1.2 million today. His retirement wouldn't be comfortable, it would be extraordinary. But instead, David chose safety, and his reward is a retirement that's comfortable but constrained. He won't struggle, but he won't be free either. He'll work a few more years than he needed to. He'll take fewer trips. He'll say no to his grandchildren more often. All because the system guided him toward an illusion of security that was actually a trap. And David isn't unique. David is the norm. Millions of Davids are retiring with 20 to 30% of the wealth they could have accumulated if they'd understood the mechanisms of extraction. And they'll never know what they lost. They'll never realize the system stole from them through slow-motion financial erosion. They'll just think they didn't save enough. They'll blame themselves. Meanwhile, the people who understood the system, the people who invested, who took calculated risks, who didn't trust the banks, they're retiring early. They're traveling. They're living on their terms. The difference isn't luck, it's knowledge. It's understanding the mechanisms. I hear another objection. But I don't have the knowledge to invest. I don't understand the stock market. It seems too complicated. This is by design. The financial industry has made investing seem more complicated than it actually is because complexity creates fees. Complexity creates advisory relationships. Complexity keeps you dependent on institutions. But the truth is simple. You can build a diversified portfolio with 3 index funds. You can automate monthly contributions. You can let compound interest work for 30 years and become wealthy almost passively. Warren Buffett's advice? Put your money in a low-cost index fund and let it sit. That's it. That's the strategy that outperforms 90% of professional investors over 30-year periods. It's not complicated. It's simple, and it's dramatically better than a savings account. The complexity is an illusion designed to keep you paying fees to advisors and banks. So when an advisor tells you that you need their expertise, what they're really saying is, I need your money to generate my fees. That's not advice. That's extraction with a smile. You don't need an advisor. You need to understand the mechanisms, and you're learning them right now. Here's a crucial piece of context most people don't have. This extraction system is relatively new. Before the 1970s, bank savings accounts actually kept pace with inflation. You could earn real returns on savings. But then something changed. Central banks adopted what's called financial repression, a deliberate policy of keeping interest rates below the inflation rate to erode debt and discourage saving. This was a policy choice. It was deliberate. It was designed to transfer wealth from savers to borrowers, from the middle class to the government and corporations. Once you understand this is a policy, not a natural economic law, you understand that you have to opt out. You have to make different choices. You can't trust the system to work in your favor because it was deliberately designed not to. This is the nuclear truth the banks don't want you to know. The system is rigged against savers on purpose. This isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's intentional, it's policy. And knowing that should change everything about how you approach your money. So what do you actually do with this knowledge? First, understand your personal situation. How much of your wealth is sitting in low-yielding savings accounts? How much are you losing annually to inflation? Calculate it, put a number on it, make it real. Second, educate yourself on alternatives. Read about index funds, understand asset allocation. Learn the difference between stocks, bonds, and real estate. This doesn't require a PhD. It requires curiosity and a few hours of research. Third, take action incrementally. Don't dump all your money into the market tomorrow. Dollar cost average. Invest $500 per month into a diversified index fund. Let the system work for you instead of against you. Fourth, understand fees. Every 1% in annual fees over 30 years can cost you 25% of your final portfolio. Seek low-fee index funds. Avoid advisors who charge percentage-based fees. Make fees your enemy. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for the perfect time to start. The perfect time was yesterday. The second best time is today. You've already lost 10 years to the system just by having a bank account. How many more years are you willing to give away? The clock is running. Every day you delay costs you through compound interest you're not earning. This is not a drill. This is your life. This is your wealth. This is your freedom. Take it back. But here's what I want you to understand at the deepest level. This isn't just about money. This is about agency. This is about recognizing that the systems you've been told to trust were not designed to make you wealthy. They were designed to extract value from you while maintaining an illusion that they're helping you. Once you see that illusion, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you have a choice. You can continue participating in the system knowing its true nature, or you can opt out. You can make different choices. You can invest in real assets. You can start a business. You can take calculated risks that align with your goals rather than the bank's goals. You can become an agent of your own wealth creation instead of a passive participant in your own wealth extraction. The matrix is real, and the matrix is designed to exploit you. You can take the blue pill and stay comfortable, keeping your money in a savings account while inflation eats your future. Or you can take the red pill, understand the mechanisms, and fight back. The choice is yours, but choose consciously, not by default, not because it's comfortable. Choose because you've seen the truth and you understand what's at stake. This is why understanding the mechanisms matters. This is why financial literacy is an act of rebellion. Every person who wakes up to how the system works is someone who stops feeding it. Every person who moves their capital from low-yielding accounts to real investments is someone who's taking back their power. Every person who refuses to be compliant, who refuses to be extracted from, is someone who's choosing freedom. And freedom, real freedom, starts with understanding exactly how the cage was built. You now understand how it was built. What you do with that knowledge will determine your future. Remember, this is not investment advice. It is purely educational content. What matters now is the next decision you make. Will you continue as you have been, or will you take action? The difference between your current path and an optimized path might be 10 years of your life or more. That's not an exaggeration. That's mathematics. That's the mechanism. Now you know. Now you choose. Like and share this with someone who needs to wake up to these mechanisms, because the system counts on isolation. It counts on each person fighting alone, unaware that millions of others are being extracted from in exactly the same way. Break that isolation, spread the knowledge, and subscribe because there's a lot more of this kind of deep analysis coming. The system doesn't want you informed, so let's make sure you are. See you next time.